cover my food. I have to bring the food to the studio. I have to bring my food to the studio. Okay. We're going live now. 10 seconds left. And we already have close to 17 or 18 people join us on TikTok. I have to apologize for a slight delay there. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever your geographical location is. Welcome again to the Movement Radio, where we are the alternative radio station that is trying to bring freedom and full citizenship to the Nigerian and the African mind. Welcome. We are here again to give you our educative and informative broadcast to enlighten the mind, to free our minds from the bondage of colonization and neo colonization, and also the bondage of false democracy that we are practicing. Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in England, welcome. In America, in Nigeria, in Africa, wherever or whatever geographical location you're listening to us, we want to say welcome to the Movement Radio. We are the people's voice. We are the ones determined to move us towards freedom, the black man, the African mind, and the Nigerian people towards freedom. We want to change their narrative, the narrative where the country is a weapon that is fashioned against them. We want to change that narrative to a positive one. We want to empower the minds, and also we want to be the medium for which liberations of the African minds is established. Um, Welcome. My name is Alaba Ferreira, and I'm reporting to you from Chicago. I will first pass the microphone over to Abdullah. And begin to have a change of heart. If you're educated and the solution you have your country with what
from studio time.
educative and informative broadcast to enlighten the mind, to free our minds from the bondage of to become a governor, a senator, and a president in Nigeria. That's the intro to the FBI Tinubu files. We got so much going on this.
Yes,
What you got to say, Abdullah? Go
that
ahead.
posed a lot of questions because for an African, we know the
Where we are the alternative radio station that is trying to bring freedom and full citizenship to the Nigerian and the African mind. Welcome. We are here again to give you our educative and informative broadcast to enlighten the mind, to free our minds from the bondage of colonization and neo colonization, and also the bondage of false democracy that we are practicing. Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in England, welcome. In America, in Nigeria, in Africa, wherever or whatever geographical location you're listening to us, we want to say welcome to the Movement Radio. We are the people's voice. We are the ones determined to move us towards freedom, the black man, the African mind, and the Nigerian people towards freedom. We want to change their narrative, the narrative where the country is a weapon that is fashioned against them. We want to change that narrative to a positive one. We want to empower the minds, and also we want to be the medium for which liberations of the African minds is established. Um, Welcome. My name is Alaba Ferreira, and I'm reporting to you from Chicago. I will first pass the microphone over to Abdullah Salisu in Abuja. Uh, what's his name? Is also with us from Lagos, Ibukun Olua, but he's having some few technical problems connecting. So anytime he joins in, he will introduce himself. Meanwhile, I pass the microphone over to Abdullahi Salisu from Abuja. Salisu, microphone
Oh,
over.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world and wherever you are joining us from. Studio time tech here is 14 minutes after 8 p.m. here in Abuja. And welcome to Movement Radio, the voice of liberation, where we talk about issue-based that is moving towards Nigerian liberation, and things are getting intense as the political season keeps moving into it. And we are moving towards a very solid discussion. And today's program we target or we titled it Bigmanism is not our culture. So through it we will go through a lot of issues and which will show you that the Bigmanism in our political culture or in our ruling culture is not our true culture in Africa, because we know our leaders have to happen to be people who are humble, who have a lot of humility, who are decent. They are not the kind of people that we have today that are ruining the society, not only in Nigeria but across Africa. People who love title and the rest. So sit down, relax, and at any point in time you can decide to contribute your opinion either by commenting across all the social media platforms or on our X audio space where you pick up the mic and air out your contribution. Movement Radio is the voice of liberation, and we are not a one-way flow. We are a two-way traffic. We talk, you talk, so we have a better Nigeria. Thank you. The mic back to Chicago.
Yes, before we proceed and start telling you about all our topics, we want to tell you on which medium we are broadcasting from. We'll start with the initial medium, which is TikTok. In on TikTok, we are broadcasting live. So we've seen a lot of people have joined us already on TikTok. I see you, Tanji. Stay focused. That's a very good friend of mine, I must admit. Isabok, Kareem, Mama Vicky, all those that have joined us here on the Movement Radio. I see Talwizo, MT, Jade Gabriel, and so many others. Tonto, join. I should stop calling names on TikTok because usually the name is usually very long. So we are broadcasting on TikTok live, um, and we are broadcasting also on live on Instagram. On Instagram, we're broadcasting live. Also, we're broadcasting live on two stations on Facebook. One is the Movement Radio station on Facebook, and the other one is the Alabama Manuel Ferreira page on Facebook so that you can hear us. We're trying to spread out as much as we can because we are in the business of information, correct information, good information that will help the black man, the African mind towards liberation. So the more we spread all our tentacles across all medium, the more our message can get to the people we want them to get to so they would have no hindrance getting to us. So we are on two pages on Facebook, Alaba Ferreira, Facebook and Movement Radio Facebook. Also, we are on three pages right now on X. Two of them are visual. We are on the Movement Radio, the one that starts with a T on X, and we are on the Alaba Ferreira on X. But we are also on the the Movement Radio, the one that starts with an M on X, and that is where we give microphone to those who want to join the studio in terms of our discussion. You can join our discussions from the studio on YouTube or Facebook, but you can always comment at the bottom, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X. You can always comment on your views on what we are talking about, what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you I want to add, what you want to remove. So I see more people, Bola, Kinto, Mowo, Rai, and all those joining us. You can always comment. We will see your comment and we would respond. But if you want to join for discussion, X Movement Radio is the best way to ask for a microphone and join us in this interesting debate of freeing our minds and emancipating our people and bringing us to a better quality of life than we have. Africa is sitting on a gold mine. Nigeria is sitting on the promised land with milk and honey, and yet we have no business with poverty, but poverty is what we have inherited as a result of bad governance. Thank you, Debo. Thank you very much. I see a lot of people requesting for invite to be as a guest. We will look into that. I don't know how to do that to invite people as a guest, but you can still join us on TikTok, whichever one. So that's where you can join us live. Our today's topic is the word Bigmanism is not our culture. So those even starts this conversation, we have to understand what is the term Bigmanism. It's a term that the movement radio itself coined. I'm not too sure the word is in the dictionary, but it's a word that basically is what you will find that's similar to Bigmanism is bourgeoisie, being a bourgeoisie. I'm going to ask Abdullahi to look up the word bourgeoisie for us so we can read out a dictionary meaning of bourgeoisie or the word feudalism. These are alternative words that could best describe the word we have replaced with Bigmanism, and we will read you the meaning of those words. But first, let us explain to you what we understand by Bigmanism. Bigmanism is now it's a system of government that is similar to apartheid. It is similar to apartheid in the sense that while apartheid is based on segregation and separation based on the color of your skin, the race, where the minority whites were in control against the majority black. But in Bigmanism, all are black, but all are not of the same class. And then a certain group of people believe they are more superior or more equal or more human than the rest of the people, and their modus operandis exhibits this in their way they govern, the way they interpret facts, the way they analyze, the way they reason, basically, that they are more human or they are better human than the rest of the community. This Bigmanism springs up from white supremacy. Africa was colonized by the white. A lot of people were educated in the ways of the white man, of the colonialist, of the colonial masters, and then their mentality has evolved to think that if they make it or become successful within their community, they are better than the local community because they've been ordained to be the king and queen of their community. And so everybody must respect them, must say, yes, sir, yes, ma, and all this nonsense. And therefore, once they are in power or they are in control, they are not they are above the law. In fact, they are the law. They are not just the law, they are gods. They are mini gods or major god or micro god you have to worship. And you have this all across our society, from the religious bodies, from the imams to the pastors to the father GOs, the religious, the Pentecostal churches, even the Catholic Church, or the father GOs, reverend fathers, pastors. Everybody just wants a title to show to the other man that they are better than them. And it is so bad in the Nigerian community that it has so much been ingrained in their blood that um, every dysfunction, they even portray it more to the point where their failure to provide electricity to the country, everybody started buying generator. They even brought classism to the type of generators they buy. I better pass my neighbor generator is the brand name they call this generator. I better pass my neighbor, meaning I am better than my neighbor. I am not equal to my neighbor. I am more than my neighbor. And it's a thing of joy. Nigerians will go to church and give thanksgiving to God for blessing them above their neighbor. They don't see themselves as equal to their neighbor. They don't want to see themselves as the same level as their neighbor. They built neighborhoods based on this principle of Bigmanism. We have Banana Island, we have Lagos Island, we have not Lagos Island, we have Victoria Island, we have Ikoyi. These are high class neighborhood where the rich or purported rich wants to separate themselves from the rest of the community. And this is a mentally ingrained principle in the head of Nigerians. It started from the colonial era, where the colonialists were first of all settled in Ikoyi, and Ikoyi was separated from the mainland, and then the extension went into Victoria Island, and Victoria Island was separated from Morocco, which is the slum where the poor people stays. So, and as soon as the white man leaves and leaves, the corridors of power are handed over to another a new colonialist, the same black people. They just the color of colonialization just changed from white back to black. This principle continues, and when they build houses, which the white man built, if you come to the white man land, they have built houses, and the boys' squad, the garage is renamed boys' quarters in Nigeria, and this boys' quarters now becomes where the housemaid or the house help stays, just like where the slaves stays, and then the big man stays in the main house. And everybody in Nigeria adopted the principles of having house help, house boy, housemaid, and so they have a driver. They have, it just goes on and on. And all this is internalized in the way they interpret governance, in the way governance is spread. So this is the concept of Bigmanism. It's a form of apartheid, but what it does to the society is that it creates injustice. It creates man inhumanity to man. Fela Kuti has sung a lot of songs regarding this. All his album, it talks about how colonial mentality has messed the African leaders up, or the African elites up. How they don't see themselves as part of the same community. They are better. They are the prince. They are the king. They are the ones that needs to be worshipped. And this has basically brought down the community in such a sad and tragic format. So we will cover that. And why are we talking about this today? There's some basic things going on right now in the Nigerian news circle regarding a banker called Enemelu, or something, castigating a young lady from calling him by his first name, while the banks have a policy that every member should be called by their first name. So I guess this man feels so insulted that a title was not attached to his name. He has to castigate the young lady. So thereby, here we are again sending mixed signals to the young ones regarding what to follow. You know, if the white man calls you by your first name, you don't complain. But when an African of your own color, of your own skin folk calls you by your first name, it suddenly become an issue. And a lot of people have been arguing on behalf of NMLU, saying, well, it's our culture to respect elders. But our culture, that we are arguing that is not our culture. Our culture is a culture of respect. We can argue about that, but our culture is not a culture of subservience, and it's not a culture of dominance. It's not a culture of arrogance. It's not a culture of superiority. No, that is not our culture. So we will delve more into that. We will also look at the FBI cases regarding the president. We will read a few articles and things like that. So this is the lineup we have for today, and I would hand over back to Abdullahi before we start showing you videos, reading articles, and discussing each of these program. I know I didn't define Bigmanism as best as I can, but you get the drift, you get the idea. Bigmanism is like it's a superiority complex theory that I am better than my fellow human beings, and therefore I should be treated better. And while they should not be treated as equal as I am. So animal farm, some are more, Bigmanism is the concept of some are more equal than others.
Then,
I hand over the mic back to Abdullahi. Go ahead.
okay, thank you. So, Bigmanism, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. I say Bigmanism in the real sense, or if you relate it to an English word, It might be autocracy or despotism or a system of authoritarianism where someone has despotism. If you look at it in the concept that mostly talks about people who are desperate to govern and governing not because of any other thing, but to be to be looked as people of the higher class, not while they have the opportunity to look some people below them and treat them as less equal than them. That's why in the concept of Bigmanism, despotism and autocracy is things that are closely related to the concept as we discussed today. Because what we have in practice now currently across Africa or Nigeria in specific is kind of we have authoritarian government and we have people who are desperate for titles. So autocracy and despotism is the two concepts that we have to use to explain Bigmanism to our audience. So anybody who is desperate for leadership and without even know necessarily knowing what it entails, and then people who are seeking for power. We have political class or political elite who are like they have high test for power. So that's where we get the big manism from. And going forward, we read some articles and we'll play some videos that will explain what leadership truly means and the videos are going to cut across a lot of the topics that we have discussed before and even what we will discuss currently because it's going to touch on our education system, what leadership truly means, and who you as someone who believe that you are literate, what are your responsibilities? So all this have to be taken care of. So thank you. Back to Chicago. I think we can start with the videos.
Okay. Yes, we are going to start with the videos now. And the first video we wa- okay, sorry, I just been told that most of our guests on our X audio were not hearing us for the first 5 minutes, but I hope we've rectified that situation now. We're going to start with my friend and
Coordinated
former
by Mr.
classmate
Emmanuel Effiong
Taiwo
Bright. We did an
Taiwo
expose
Akinlami's
on
comment
this
on this
idea of
Emenelu's
borrowing foreign culture.
issue. And let me share that with you on what Taiwo Akilami
That's
has to say regarding.
I think
Can
the
you hear
name
me?
is Tony Elumelu.
Yeah, that's the person. But my friend and former classmate Taiwo Akilami has an opinion on the Tony Olumelu situation, and let's hear him first of all, and then we'll the Elumelu debate. Let's hear what Taiwo Akinlami has to say regarding this. I always respect Taiwo's article. He's a lawyer, a child advocate, and an egalitarian advocate. So let's hear what he has to say on this issue.
I serve a constituency that is almost always misunderstood, chastised for following the pathway that the elders have shown them to follow. This constituency, our young people, they are good at following. But instead of commending them for following our examples, we chastise them, we confuse them, we make them objects of shame for trying to tread our path. It is very sad. As a person, I'm a practitioner, an ambassador of culture, particularly the Yoruba culture. I'm not a subscriber to first name, and I've never pretended to. Just last week, I straightened up somebody who I have a professional relationship with. As a matter of fact, we are just meeting and chose to address me by first name. I said, no, I don't accept it. Now, it is not a new thing for me. It has been like that for years. But you see, it has not been like that for corporate Nigeria. It has not been like that for the banking industry, who, in the name of freedom or whatever, decided to say that people should call themselves by first name within the corporate environment. Many years ago, when I was editing The Effective Manager, under the leadership of Mr. Olakunle Soyin and coordinated by Mr. Emmanuel Effiong Bright, we did an expose on this idea of borrowing foreign culture as the means of establishing freedom within the corporate Nigeria. We were saying you can establish freedom for the purpose of increasing productivity within corporate Nigeria without jettisoning our culture, particularly our culture of respect. Respect for elders, dignity, honor. You don't need to bring the strange fire of foreign ideals into everything. They have their place. We have our place. We can borrow from each other. It is in that light that I take a look at this whole idea and brouhaha that is going on right now. Our societies are unfair to our children. Our societies are unfair to our young people. We teach them a path to go. They follow that path, we crucify them. If today, corporate Nigeria has not changed its mind, we should say so. Mr. Elumelu is a leader within the corporate Nigeria that promoted, celebrated, supported this idea, this culture of first name and the rest. If he has changed his mind, he should say so. I, for one, will not condone disrespect from anyone. I also respect myself fundamentally, and I do not embrace double standard. That is the point. We must get that straight. But you see, the challenge today is that who is going to speak for our young people? This is the most difficult time to be a young person. Our young people are bombarded left, right, and center. They are taught the way to go, they follow. And when they follow, we crucify them. It ought not to be so. It ought not to be so. I have no blame for our young people. They are just following the example that we have created. When we are tired of whatever we are complaining about them, we will change the examples that we are showing. Then you will see a new set of young people. Imagine if we have problem with who they are today.
Yeah, that was Taiwo Akinlami putting his opinions out there. We also have it in print, and we would bring it to you all on that. So we would bring it to you in print also. I'm just getting reports that they didn't hear
I
that
serve a
clearly.
constituency that is almost always
They didn't hear.
misunderstood.
They didn't hear that
following the
on
pathway
X, so I'm going to
that the
replay
elders
it in a
have
way
shown them
that
to
they'll
follow.
be able
This constituency, our young
to hear.
people, they are good at following. But instead of commending them,
Hold on. Abdullah, I'm going to play it again because I've just been told they did not hear they didn't hear that video on X audio. So I'm going to
On
replay
X,
it. On X, yes. So I'm
yes,
going
don't
to,
worry, just replay it.
yeah, let me just replay it. Hold on. Let me replay it. Hold on. I'll share it in a different format whereby it will be heard by everyone.
professional relationship with, as a matter of fact, we are just meeting and chose to address me by I serve a constituency that is almost always misunderstood, chastised for following the pathway that the elders have shown them to follow. This constituency, our young people, they are good at following. But instead of commending them for following our examples, we chastise them, we confuse them, we make them objects of shame for trying to tread our path. It is very sad. As a person, I'm a practitioner, an ambassador of culture, particularly the Yoruba culture. I'm not a subscriber to first name, and I've never pretended to. Just last week, I straightened up somebody who I have a professional relationship with. As a matter of fact, we are just meeting and chose to address me by first name. I said, no, I don't accept it. Now, it is not a new thing for me. It has been like that for years. But you see, it has not been like that for corporate Nigeria. It has not been like that for the banking industry, who in the name of freedom or whatever decided to say that people should call themselves by first name within the corporate environment. Many years ago, when I was editing The Effective Manager, under the leadership of Mr. Olakunle, coordinated by Mr. Emmanuel Effiong Bright, we did an expose on this idea of borrowing foreign culture as the means of establishing freedom within the corporate Nigeria. We were saying you can establish freedom for the purpose of increasing productivity within corporate Nigeria without jettisoning our culture, particularly our culture of respect. Respect for elders, dignity, honor. You don't need to bring the strange fire of foreign ideals into everything. They have their place. We have our place. We can borrow from each other. It is in that light that I take a look at this whole idea and brouhaha that is going on right now. Our societies are unfair to our children. Our societies are unfair to our young people. We teach them a path to go. They follow that path, we crucify them. If today, corporate Nigeria has not changed its mind, we should say so. Mr. Lumelu is a leader within the corporate Nigeria that promoted, celebrated, supported this idea, this culture of first name and the rest. If he has changed his mind, he should say so. I will not condone disrespect from anyone. I also respect myself fundamentally. I serve a constituency that is almost always misunderstood, chastised for following the pathway that the elders have shown them to follow. This constituency, our young people, they are good at following. But instead of commending them for following our examples, we chastise them, we confuse them, we make them objects of shame for trying to tread our path. It is very sad. As a person, I'm a practitioner, an ambassador of culture, particularly the Yoruba culture. I'm not a subscriber to first name, and I've never pretended to. Just last week, I straightened up somebody who I have a professional relationship with. As a matter of fact, we are just meeting and chose to address me by first name. I said, no, I don't accept it. Now, it is not a new thing for me. It has been like that for years. But you see, it has not been like that for corporate Nigeria. It has not been like that for the banking industry, who in the name of freedom or whatever decided to say that people should call themselves by first name within the corporate environment. Many years ago, when I was editing The Effective Manager, under the leadership of Mr. Olakunle and coordinated by Mr. Emmanuel Effiong Bright, we did an expose on this idea of borrowing foreign culture as the means of establishing freedom within the corporate Nigeria. We were saying you can establish freedom for the purpose of increasing productivity within corporate Nigeria without jettisoning our culture, particularly our culture of respect. Respect for elders, dignity, honor. You don't need to bring the strange fire of foreign ideals into everything. They have their place. We have our place. We can borrow from each other. It is in that light that I take a look at this whole idea and brouhaha that is going on right now. Our societies are unfair to our children. Our societies are unfair to our young people. We teach them a path to go. They follow that path, we crucify them. If today, corporate Nigeria has not changed its mind, we should say so. Mr. Lumelu is a leader within the corporate Nigeria that promoted, celebrated, supported this idea, this culture of first name and the rest. If he has changed his mind, he should say so. I, for one, do not condone disrespect from anyone. I also respect myself fundamentally, and I do not embrace double standard. That is the point. We must get that straight. But you see, the challenge today is that who is going to speak for our young people? This is the most difficult time to be a young person. Our young people are bombarded left, right, and center. They are taught the way to go, they follow. And when they follow, we crucify them. It ought not to be so. It ought not to be so. I have no blame for our young people. They are just following the example that we have created. When we are tired of whatever we are complaining about them, we will change the examples that we are showing. Then you will see a new set of young people. Imagine if we have problem with who they are today.
Okay. Thank you, Taiwo Akinlami, for that. We have several videos we want to share for you. But first, microphone back to Abdullahi to see what Abdullahi has to say regarding Taiwo's comments regarding this NMLO. We still have other videos and everything, but let's go straight to Abdullahi in Abuja. A comment on that last video.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I not like what he said. The young people will be seriously confused when you go to school or any formal organization or the corporate world as by Mr. Taiwo. So instead He said, if you look at it, everything that you do start with your first name.
Yeah.
So, and people are addressed with that first name. Then now, some people who are looked as models, who have benefited from that corporate, and they also practice that. Now they are saying they don't, because if you look at how he said, when she said Mr. Elumelu, the man just shut her down. He said, no, you either call me Mr. Taiwo, or you call him with his third name. No, I said no. That shouldn't be, because in the corporate world, what they did is that you address the person by his first name. So you are a beneficiary of the system, and you are now telling us that wouldn't work. That's double standard. Just as said by, oh, talking by your two side of the mouth. You are practicing something else, and you are going the other way.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
believe
quite unfortunate. The young generation would don't know which one to go with.
I believe that what's
Is
his name?
Consistency that is almost
I believe that
always
what's his name?
misunderstood.
Showore did have a response for that he
Chastised
did
for
say,
following the pathway
I'm trying
that
to see if I can find it. Showore did have the reply, and a lot of the Olodo uprising people were up in arms, attacking him and all the usual stuff. A lot of Nigerians are they're not really, they're in the dark. I don't want to use the word they are not educated, but a lot of Nigerians are in the dark when it comes to critical thinking. They just don't think straight. I'm trying to see if I can find that Shore's response to this guy. Hold on, let me see if I find it. But they were attacking him, blah blah blah. He shouldn't have said that. He did say this. There was a lot of noise making, and the movement radio kind of agree with that Shore position regarding this Enemelu situation, that it is not about culture, but rather it is about class. I'm trying to see if I can find that Showore's response. It is not about culture, but rather about class. You understand?
Yeah, even me, I think it's about class.
You know, so because
Because
even
if
Taiwo
Hadid is
yeah,
someone that he regard that has his own status,
yeah. And there have been videos where
he won't stop the person that way.
yes, and there's been videos where a white man called him Tony. He didn't have an issue with that. But those who are arguing on the other side, they brought up Maya Angelou's comment where she chastised a young lady who called Maya at an American interview session that if Maya can do it, Nemelu must do that. But the people arguing like this are not looking at the fact that that is the policy of the bankers. They made that policy that they could call each other by the first name. So how come it became a main issue now for these people? You understand? So those who are bringing up Maya Angelou's arguments, they're not balancing their views. And Nigerians they do that a lot just to win an argument. They don't take a holistic position of what the story is or what's going on. They just want to win at all costs, and they're usually very insultive. That's usually the first thing they go for. That's how they don't really have a point when they are talking. They're always very insultive. Okay, that's the first thing they go for, insults. Um, hold on, let me see what's going on here. Yeah, can you still hear me, Abdullahi? Just checking.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good, good, good. Because I'm having the small computer freeze here. Hold on.
This is just generally, even the network.
Yeah, I'm having a computer freeze, so I'm thinking I hope it's not affecting my audio. So If that's your policy and the lady is just following policy, why? I think it's a class thing. He just felt he has to prove his big manism in front of that audience.
Yes, that's
Yes,
that bourgeois culture.
thing, yeah, culture. He has to just be a big man, and the girl calling him by his name is not allowing him to do that. You understand?
Yes,
That's
yes.
exactly
It
what I
feels
see
like
that is happening.
maybe they don't have
They don't
regard
have
to his
regard
class.
to his class.
The man of his
Yeah.
position should be
Position should be
respected.
respected. A man of his position should be respected. That's just what is going on. I wish I could find that show rest stuff, but if I don't find it, we're gonna move on. There's some videos I plan to share with us regarding the state of mind of the black man. You know, um, I will share those videos with us in a minute, and then I'll still make a second attempt to find this Shower's response. I think my Twitter page is acting up, to be honest with you. My Twitter page is acting up because I believe that Shower's response is on Twitter, and should be easy to find for me. But if I don't find it, let me move on so I don't waste our time to the next video. The last thing I want to do is to waste our time. So we have a video here that talks about we, the Africans, our state of mind, our situation, and then we're going to comment about it. Let's start with the first one. Okay. Oh, I think I have to let me load it up onto the studio. That way we can play it. Okay. I want to play it. Hold on.
To study so that you can write a CV. You go to school to study so that you can solve the problems in the community. Here is the model. Before you go to school, identify the problem in the community. Then go to school, study the problem, look for possible solutions, have a proposal and a business plan of how to solve this problem. When you graduate, go back into the community and solve that problem. And while you are solving problems, you've created a business and you can charge a premium for your solving the problems. But we don't have an education system like that. We have an education system that gives you a degree. And the best thing you can write after the degree, I hereby apply for a job. I'm a team worker. I work under pressure. Like really? And there we end up with graduates that are not employed instead of graduates that are creating employment. Why? With almost so many engineers in Kenya, are we still having a problem with electricity? What were they doing in school? Why are we struggling with medicine when you have so many doctors and pharmacists that have come out from the bush? Who amongst all these doctors tomorrow morning will go to the bush and find them and make for us a tonic that cures stomach problems? No, it has not been tested. It has not been tested by who? Because our fathers have been doing this for the past thousands of years. Which part of clinical tests do you need? But anyway, if you need clinical tests, then test it and see if it won't work. So the concept of education, we don't need an education that teaches us about the other. We need an education that teaches us about ourselves. It should be illegal for any student to graduate as a graduate and does not know what is underneath his feet in terms of the resources that their country is offering, the raw materials that are underneath their feet, the trees that are around them, the flora that is around us.
Let's hear that. Let's hear that one more time.
You go to school to study so that you can solve the problems in the community. Here is the model. Before you go to school, identify the problem in the community. Then go to school, study the problem, look for possible solutions, have a proposal and a business plan of how to solve this problem. When you graduate, go back into the community and solve that problem. And while you are solving problems, you've created a business and you can charge a premium for your solving the problems. But we don't have an education system like that. We have an education system that gives you a degree. And the best thing you can write after your degree, I hereby apply for a job. I'm a team worker. I work under pressure. I like, really? And there we end up with graduates that are not employed instead of graduates that are creating employment. Why? With almost so many engineers in Kenya, are we still having a problem with electricity? What were they doing in school? Why are we struggling with medicine when you have so many doctors and pharmacists that have come out from the bush? Who amongst all these doctors tomorrow morning will go to the bush and find them and make for us a tonic that cures stomach problems? No, it has not been tested. It has not been tested by who? Because our fathers have been doing this for the past thousands of years. Which part of clinical tests do you need? But anyway, if you need clinical tests, then test it and see if it won't work. So the concept of education, we don't need an education that teaches us about the other. We need an education that teaches us about ourselves. It should be illegal for any student to graduate as a graduate and does not know what is underneath his feet in terms of the resources that their country is offering, the raw materials that are underneath their feet, the trees that are around them, the flora that is around us.
Yeah. Abdullah, comment on that before I go on.
Yes, I think
Abdullah, can.
you the
Mhm.
yes, I can hear you. It's just
Right.
that it's breaking along the line.
Okay.
As I said, what the video is trying is talking to us about, you can still go back to Farida Bemba, where she talked about the colonial education system that is not built to create people with critical thinking.
School to study so that you can write a CV.
Go on. Go on. Sorry about that.
And then, and also when you look at the towards the last part of the video where he's talking about we having large number of graduates, you will see that you
School to
have
study so
engineers that the maybe one study electrical engineer, mechatronic, mechanical engineering, and at the same time we still have problems, enormous problem in those aspects that you can't say that is solved or is fixed. And then we also looking our own, this education system always makes us doubt our own and accept what is not our own. That's the aspect of what the African traditional medicine, where if we can explore that means we will take, will go a long way in creating our, even if we are going to transform it into the modern medicine, but we should study because we have our own peculiarities, which if we can capitalize on that will go a long way in solving some of, we can't, at this age and at this era we can't still be depending from the global pharmaceutical companies, the Pfizer and the rest, for them to produce medicines for us.
Yeah, we just like we have to change our entire educational curriculum. It's just crazy that we still have the colonial curriculum, and it's dumbing down our people. It's making them to be dependent. That's why they're still calling themselves third world. It's making them inferior. They don't have critical thinking. They say yes to every dictator, every totalitarian. They're looking for a savior to come from the outside to come and save them. They're looking for someone or God to do the job that God has created their hands and leg to do. They just makes them like little children. It makes them, like a people who have had arrested development, as if their growth has been stunted. That's the type of education we have. And the whole African continent has to start thinking about how to revamp that educational system. But that is not going to happen unless we have a good government in place like the Chinese do and the Americans do that understand what it means to plan for the next 100 years. Not a government that think only about its stomach, and everything that comes out of their mouth is what should be coming out of their anal hole. So that is the problem we face. So let's share another video with you, and then we're going to be a little bit zigzag on our topic today. We got several videos, a lot of videos, but the topic is on the concept of Bigmanism in itself as not being part of our culture, and how we can find our way back to our original self, our original African culture, our original Pan-African philosophy and ideology. We will talk about the NMLO, we'll be back and forth on that, and we would also talk about the FBI case on Tinubu. Let's share another video.
You've got to see the big picture. Do we have such leaders? Whether it's in the political arena, you are typical African so-called leader. I don't use leader when I'm talking about African politicians, because it's an insult to the word. Their agenda is thinking from one election to the other. No big ideas. You go to China, see big thinking. The Chinese are now thinking about how they will relate to Africa 100 years from today. 100 years from today. None of us will be alive. None of them will be alive. That is why they have, you go to any serious university in Africa now, they have a Confucius Institute. They are here to take charge of your mind so that you begin thinking like Chinese. They are teaching your children, you of the middle class, your children, you now tell them learn English and learn Mandarin. Because they are creating leaders in their own image. You know, when there was the conference in Sharm el-Sheikh, the COPs, 27, Nigeria had the largest delegation with 486 or thereabouts, followed by Kenya with 386 or thereabouts. China had 193 or thereabouts. The United States 186 or thereabouts. Half of the individuals from Nigerian and Kenyan delegation were dead weight who were shopping in Sharm el-Sheikh. They had no idea what was happening. So when they come, they are now waiting for the conference in United Arab Emirates on 23rd to 25th November this year. Yet some individual in some ministry in this country authorized that they go. And all of them possibly were traveling business class. Those are not leaders. Those are thieves. And when you have such individuals controlling your affairs, you can't go far. That leadership is about honesty. That is the point that I'm trying to make. That you are not a leader until you are honest. Leadership is about courage. And courage does not mean recklessness. It's about doing the right thing in a manner that is orderly. Are we courageous? Are you prepared to speak your mind without fear of consequence? He's lucky that we don't have the minister in charge here. If he was here, many of you here would be groveling, Mr. CS, Mr. CS. That's what we do in Africa. We see public officials and we go on a worship mode. And we don't tell them the truth. So somebody who is a CS, somebody who is a PS is being worshipped and you claim you are a leader? Leadership is about empathy, about building a team. I was telling some young men that one of the things that amazes me and annoys me at once is when African countries go for team sports. Right now, there is the women's football in New Zealand and Australia. And when African countries score a goal and lose, the newspapers in Africa report that African team has done very well. They scored a goal. But I thought people went there to win. When an African team reaches the quarterfinals of the World Cup, we say, oh great, for the first time an African team has reached the quarterfinal. You would think that the African teams were human beings playing with angels. What point am I trying to make? A good leader creates a team, a champion team. And a champion team will always beat a team of champions. A team of champions is a group of individuals who all have talent but are each playing for their personal glory. That is why in Africa you see Africans only do well in individual sports, not in team sports. Kukimbia tu hivi. Wanashinda hivi. Kwa kwa.
Yeah. Abdullahi, should I play that again or we're good with that? Your comment, please.
Yes, I think we are good with it.
Yeah. Also,
Because
somebody just called me to tell me that they didn't hear that video on the X audio. I don't know what we are doing wrong, but it's okay. We'll keep trying. Go ahead with your comment, please.
okay. Oh, even the first one that you replay, you didn't hear it.
Oh, you didn't hear it. Okay. Even the
No,
first one that I replayed.
no, I said the first one, those ones in on X, are they still not hearing even the first one that you replayed again?
No, they can hear it if it's on the visual one, but they can't hear it on the audio one. They hear it on the visual because the visual one is whatever is showing on YouTube or Facebook is what they hear, and TikTok and Instagram. So it's just the something about the audio, the one where they can ask for a microphone that some of these videos they can't
Yes.
hear, it just goes blank. But they do hear me when I talk, but they don't hear the video. So I think if Bukun would have been able to help us, but
Okay.
he's not here. It's okay. We just keep going.
Okay, no problem. Let's see.
No
So
problem.
what if you look at what he is just trying to tell us is that we don't have visionary leaders. We just have leaders that just think within the prism of their own or their own within just a short while other countries around the world they have visionary leaders. That's why they think far and they plan ahead. They plan for hundreds and thousands of years. But if you see what we have currently in our own situation, maybe they will tell you a 2 years plan or policy that even they will not even implement. So it's quite disheartening that we call these people. That's why in movement radio we don't call them leaders, we call them ruiners. Because instead of building bridges,
Yeah, go on. Instead of building
and it
bridges,
talks
go on.
about the people.
Individuals who may have gone to school, they have degrees, PhDs, they are professors, but they are idiots. They do not make demands of their representatives. When there are potholes on the road, they buy four-wheel drive cars. When there is insecurity, they hire security firms, Gadawad from Canada, Fargo from the United States, 4GS from the United Kingdom. Those are idiots. They think that they are immune. They are close to their countries. Idiots. Idiots are individuals who may have gone to school. They have degrees, PhDs, they are professors, but they are idiots. They do not make demands of their representatives. When they are potholes on the road, they buy four-wheel drive cars. When there is insecurity, they hire security firms. Gadawa from Canada, Fargo from the United States, 4GS from the United Kingdom. Those are idiots. They think that they are immune. They are close to their countries. Idiots are individuals who may have gone to school. They have degrees, PhDs, they are professors, but they are idiots. They do not make demands of their representatives. When they are potholes on the road, they buy four-wheel drive cars. When there is insecurity, they hire security firms. Gadawa from Canada, Fargo from the United States, 4GS from the United Kingdom. Those are idiots. They think that they are immune. They are close to their countries.
Well, that opinion, it seems that, I lost Abdullah due to technical problem. Wow, it must be really happening bad in Nigeria. All our Nigerian correspondents, their connections are not working very well. It seems that there are so many idiots in Nigeria with their G-Wagons. Instead of working to make sure that the roads are fixed, they're busy going for the alternatives. And these are people with education. I hope they are listening to the movement radio and see themselves being classified by Professor Lunumba of Kenya. He said those are idiots, people who cannot think of solutions, but would rather find alternative. They call it resilience. They are just. They're buying G-Wagons instead of making sure that the roads are fixed. That country, it has a lot of educated idiots. How did what's that singer sing it? I can't remember his name. I'm an educated fool with money on my mind. Nigeria seems to have a lot of idiots. I hope those idiots are listening and begin to have a change of heart. If you're educated and the solution you have your country with potholes and bad roads is to buy a G-Wagon, not to fix the road. You have not come to this world to fix problem. You are a part of the problem. Let's watch that video one more time and I'll come on with a new video.
Idiots. Idiots are individuals who may have gone to school. They have degrees, PhDs, they are professors, but they are idiots. They do not make demands of their representatives. When they are potholes on the road, they buy four-wheel drive cars. When there is insecurity, they hire security firms. Gadawa from Canada, Fargo from the United States, 4GS from the United Kingdom. Those are idiots. They think that they are immune. They are close to their countries.
We've said it repeatedly, the type of education we receive is not a productive form of education. It's a very bad form of education, and that we have not been useful or relevant to our society to help solve problems. We've been dependent, we've been everything, but useful is not the word we will use to describe a typical educated African. These are tragic, but these are facts. We're going to continue the program today by sharing with you some other details regarding the Nigerian situation. And we got a lot to share. First is this poster in relation to the issue of the presidency. So the question is, the files they cannot show us, what is the FBI hiding about Bola Tinubu? The files they cannot show us. We are going to read you that article in a minute. But first, we have a cartoon we want to share with you. And so we want to talk about Tinubu's campaign team, not because we are anti-APC. Yes, we are anti-APC. But because we found out that all the peoples that have committed a crime are being put into the campaign team while they've not been punished. But first, here's a board poster going around in Lagos. I think this looks like an AI generated poster because Lagos bicycles will not look that clean and the buses will not look that clean, even though they look damaged. So it has to be AI. Bats the rat. He talked to the FBI, now he wants your vote. Don't trust the snitch. Defeat Tinubu, no rats in power. That's our first poster we are sharing with you. Bats the rat. I think it's AI generated. That's coming from Mike Arnold. I think he's a frequent commentator in the Nigerian scene. There's another good one here we want to share with you before we share the point of who are the ABC supporters. Here's another one. The mysterious bat rat. We hope you can see that. For those of you who are on our visual, our audio has been terrible anyway. Most of our videos are not popping up on the audio, but it's okay. But at least you can still hear us on the visual one. And yeah, some of you that have joined us on that. So that's another cartoon poster we want to share with you. You know, I want to thank Kentucky and Osun 568 joining us from Instagram. And then the people joining us from TikTok, we're thanking you. That's our second poster for the day. There's one more poster we want to share with you, a cartoon poster. One person actually commented that no human being can solve the mystery behind this man called Bat. A bat is a very dangerous animal, flies at night, hangs upside down, sleeps upside down. Looks like a dog and many more. Woo! It is quite entertaining for us Nigerians. Thank you, Mr. Mike Arnold, for this. Okay, we're going to move on to the next cartoon we want to share with you before we share a video. And then we got several articles we want to share with you. There's the issue of the fake agencies also, and we want to talk. But first, let's hear what fashion
ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lápapọ̀ ẹ wo bí tó báyé wa jẹ́ dé ẹ wo fídíò yìí. ṣe ti rí ibi tí apc ti báyé yín jẹ́dé wọ́n wá fún yín ní ráìsì tí ò wọ kóńgò kan kò wọ 1 kg wọ́n wá ní kẹ́ máa búra àwọn ọmọ tẹ́ bí láti ní ẹ wá kí wọ́n búra lórí ráìsì tí ò tó kóńgò kan ó mà ṣe o wọ́n ti báyé yín jẹ́ pátápátá korogodo ráìsì tí ò wọ kóńgò kan wọ́n wá ń fowó àbúyín ṣàbúyín lálejò owó tó yẹ kó jẹ́ pé garawa ráìsì lẹ́ẹ̀ni lé wọ́n wá ń fún yín ráìsì tí ò pé kóńgò kan tẹ́ ẹ lè ṣe tí èèyàn márùn-ún lè jẹ wọ́n wá báyé yín jẹ́ korogodo tán ẹ wò bọ́n ṣe ń ṣayé yín lọ́sùn wọ́n wá ń fún yín ní ráìsì wọ́n tún ní kẹ́ máa búra ṣé yorùbá táwọ́ lọ́wọ́ wá rèé ni àbí yorùbá tí Nnamdi Azikiwe jà fún rèé kákúkú wà lóko ẹrú èyìnbó ó bẹ́tà ju ká wà lóko ẹrú àwọn èèyàn wa àbínibí àwọn tó ń jọ bí wa ńlẹ̀ yorùbá wa sọ wá dẹrú wọn wá fún wa ráìsì kóńgò kan láti ràbò wa láti rẹ̀ tọ́ wa láti gba dúkìá wa lọ́wọ́ wa wọ́n wá fi dúkìá wa ṣe wá lálejò wọ́n ti báyé yorùbá jẹ́ tó bá sọ fún mi pé yorùbá lè débi tó wà yìí màá ní rọ́ọ̀lì ayé mi kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀ lójú ẹ̀mí mi kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀ ó mà ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ wo yorùbá tó ń ta ráìsì ẹ̀ láti tàbó ẹ̀ ráìsì tí ò wọ kóńgò tí ò wọ módù kan wọ́n ti báyé yorùbá jẹ́ ẹ̀dẹ̀ sí ń tẹ̀lé yorùbá rọ́ ẹ̀ ń báyé ara yín jẹ́ ẹ̀ ń bàrán díran àwọn ọmọ yín jẹ́ pẹ̀lú irú yorùbá wo ti yín kàkà bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣé kò yẹ kẹ́ wà lóko ẹrú èyìnbó wọ́n ti báyé yorùbá jẹ́ pátápátá gbáà àtẹnujẹ wa báyé yín jẹ́ wọ́n á fowó àbúyín ṣàbúyín lálejò yìí ṣé yorùbá ni ní báyìí ó máa dùn mí o ará ọ̀ṣun eléyìí ó bálùmọ̀.
So that was in Yoruba. That's Isaac Fayose talking about how the people have been destroyed. That is not traditional for the Yorubas to be begging for food, and they're begging rice, and they're asking them to use their children's name to swear. So that's what he was saying basically in Yoruba. I know we lost you, Abdullahi, for a few moments there due to network. We just showed what you missed was that we showed true cartoon character of bats. And then I was looking for the third one before I ran into that Fayoshe's video. If you have any comments, you can go ahead and say it.
No, I think across in a country like Nigeria,
Hold on, Abdullahi. Before you go, hold on, Abdullahi, hold on. There's another video I need you to show so that you can comment on both together. This is under the bridge. Hold on. Yes, I'm not sure if that was AI generated. That's also from That's also from Ayo Fire. It shows a family living under the bridge, and it's not even the lower level of the bridge, it's like the high end of the bridge. So my question is, how did they even get there? That's quite troubling. If this is what Nigerian life is becoming under this deadly APC government, we've lost Abdullahi once more. That network from Lagos is really bad. We just can't get our correspondent from Nigeria in because they keep getting knocked out. But we're going to continue to program irrespective of that. I'm looking for what do you call it? The last cartoon before we go to some other stuff. Uh, the last cartoon on Tinubu before. But first, let me read this out. If you, this is from Daily Faro to me. Let me share that. Yeah, we're doing a lot of sharing today, not less article reading. We're going to get there, but we're doing quite a lot. If you support the APC, examine yourself, your humanity and your conscience to conclaves. Summon your humanity and conscience to conclaves. Be reminded of your mortality. Imagine your immortal soul before the throne of God. And remember, you were told you are an accomplice to evil. I'm going to read that again. If you support the APC with what it is doing to Nigeria currently, examine yourself, summon your humanity and conscience to conclave, and be reminded of your mortality. Imagine your immortal soul before the throne of God, and remember that you were told you are an accomplice to evil. I'm going to show you a video of what somebody thinks the APC members are. Let's go back up. Let me see if Abdullah is back. The network is real bad. They keep knocking all our correspondent from Nigeria off. We can't catch up with Lagos. We can't catch up with Abuja. I don't know what's going on. Oh, Abdullah is back. Yeah, so sorry, Abdullah. That thing keeps kicking you out. It's okay. I
Yes,
just read something about if
little
you're an
network, but
APC.
still,
Yeah, if you're an APC member, you should examine your conscience that you are an accomplice to evil. Anyway, comment on those two videos by although you don't understand Yoruba clearly, but what Isaac Fayose was saying was about how bad things are, that people are now begging for rice, are being given rice, ask their children to swear. Then we saw a picture, although not certain if that was AI generated, of people living on the higher level of the bridge, not even on the lower level. I don't know if
yes, the
accommodation
video is
problems are.
circulating.
Eh? You
I
say
saw the
what?
video circulating almost everywhere on the internet.
Oh, the video is everywhere. Is it real? It can't. That can be. Well, it could be real. I'm trying to figure out if it's AI because how did they get to that level of the
Yes,
bridge for the
even
family to be living
even
there?
if it is AI, but if you look at the housing deficit in Nigeria,
Yeah.
many people are.
Go on. Go on.
I said, if you look at the housing deficit in Nigeria,
Yeah.
many people are sleeping under the bridge. So for a family to move, because to me, there's a scenario or a case that might result to people staying under the bridge. Because not even in Lagos alone, before people will tell you some people they go for maybe from the north to the west, that's southwest, they went there, they will sleep under the bridge. In the southeast, they sleep under the bridge. But currently now, I can categorically say if you go out this night under most of the flyovers in Abuja, you will still see people lying down, sleeping there. That's their home.
So such videos can be real. They are real. That's
Yes,
what you're
it can be
saying.
real, though I can't say straight ahead it's real, but people are actually living because a family maybe they lost their own house, maybe due to flooding or one issue or the other. They can use that as a temporary space because the sea is a place that is covered, the water will not touch them, and they can sleep instead of them because it's raining season already. They need something over their head so that as a roof. So the under the bridge is where they feel like it's safe. If you go
But
even
but that
pedestrian bridge, people are staying there.
but that second layer of the bridge, how did they get there? How did that family get there? They're washing clothes, cooking, and that looks bad. I don't want to
It
put
looks
that picture
very bad.
on for
Even
too
me, the
long.
first thing I question is how do they get there?
Oh my
That's
God, we
why
have nine.
even me I'm trying to see how real that video is. We'll keep digging it out, but the government, the Ministry of Housing, need to do a lot of work
Abdullahi, we
because
have
we have
91.
large.
Abdullahi, hold on. We have 91 messages on TikTok. I don't even know how to access my messages on that thing. I don't know. I think people are really responding to us on TikTok. While I don't know. We've got to figure this out. I just seen something pop up that there's been 91 messages for us on TikTok.
I
I
think
don't
you
know.
can.
Well, we'll do that later, but not now. Let's just continue our conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, because that would be a distraction for now. I just seen it now. So it is people are really suffering. Oh, what have we done to ourselves? Let's listen to this guy and what he has to say about. Well, I just read something about if you're an APC member, it means you are an accomplice to evil because by now you should have resigned from that party.
Being a Tinubu
If you
supporter
know what
genuinely is a mental health problem. There are two types of Tinubu supporters. There are the ones who genuinely believe that Tinubu is better for Nigeria. That I consider a mental health problem. Advice will not solve it. You need a combination of prayers, deliverance, psychiatric management, because you cannot genuinely see something that is eating you up and support it. Being a Tinubu supporter genuinely is a mental health problem. It's prayers you need. That's one. Then there is the other type of Tinubu supporters who are supporting because they are motivated by money. Those one are in two categories. There are the local supporters, there are the foreign supporters. For the local supporters, I understand your economic predicament. I understand that you are frustrated and you need the money to survive. I will not be the one to say you should not take Tinubu's money to feed your family. I'm not that wicked. But I'm only saying that in your heart of heart, always remember that money you are eating is meant for something else. It is meant for an hospital in the area. It is meant to pay police so that you are more secure. And eventually, by the time you are kidnapped, kidnappers don't accept right. Kidnappers will not take 10,000 naira from you as ransom. Kidnappers will not accept that you are a city boy or city girl or city Olusho. They will take their normal ransom. So you have it at the back of your mind that you are eating money that you cannot pay. But then there's the ones in the diaspora. Those are the ones that I consider children of Satan.
I'm going to play that one more time because
being a Tinubu supporter genuinely is a mental health problem. There are two types of Tinubu supporters. There are the ones who genuinely believe that Tinubu is better for Nigeria. That I consider a mental health problem. Advice will not solve it. You need a combination of prayers, deliverance, psychiatric management, because you cannot genuinely see something that is eating you up and support it. Being a Tinubu supporter genuinely is a mental health problem. It's prayers you need. That is one. Then there is the other type of Tinubu supporters who are supporting because they are motivated by money. Those one are in two categories. There are the local supporters, there are the foreign supporters. For the local supporters, I understand your economic predicament. I understand that you are frustrated and you need the money to survive. I will not be the one to say you should not take Tinubu's money to feed your family. I'm not that wicked. But I'm only saying that in your heart of heart, always remember that money you are eating is meant for something else. It is meant for an hospital in the area. It is meant to pay police so that you are more secure. And eventually, by the time you are kidnapped, kidnappers don't accept right. Kidnappers will not take 10,000 naira from you as ransom. Kidnappers will not accept that you are a city boss girl or city olosho. They will take their normal ransom. So you have it at the back of your mind that you are eating money that you cannot pay. But then there is the ones in the diaspora. Those are the ones that I consider children of Satan.
Abdullah, you know the part I agree with him about the ones that are abroad that are supporting madness going on in Nigeria. Those are really the children of Satan. I really
Yes,
believe that
actually, because
because they have escaped the hell, but they don't want their fellow Nigerian. I can understand those that are still there supporting this madness. They don't know better. They are poor. They have to survive. They are hungry. You can still rationalize their behavior, even though it's still a mental sickness. But those Nigerians that are living in the white man's land, living in Canada, living in the US, living in Australia, living in England, and are supporting this government, they are really satanic. They are really the devil's children. They are worse than
and
Adolf
there are
Hitler.
many.
There's so many, so many, so
Because
many.
if you take
You
some of their groups, the Renew Hope ambassadors that spread across the world from different
they I
countries.
don't do they even review themselves and see what they are supporting? It's like it's like a Jew saying that I am a strong supporter of Adolf Hitler. This is
Then
what
they
these
don't,
people are doing.
all they look after is that, okay, them they have escaped. And this man, to me, maybe even them they are agent, they are working with the system so that they will maintain the system.
Wow.
Because maybe they are doing one illegal or things that are not right, and
I
they are
think
using the system as cover up.
I think so. I think they are doing something illegal, even though they are living abroad. So they need that illegality going on in Nigeria to continue their own illegality abroad. That is the only way that can make sense.
That's what I think, even me. Because you can't be saying, you can't be clean and be supporting what is unclean and is something immoral.
A year ago, the movement radio classified these two classes of Nigerians as the depraved and the hypocrite. That we're not going to waste our time with the depraved because those are mental sickness. We're just going to leave them. I'm not going to be on X, on YouTube, arguing with somebody that has been medically classified as depraved, medically insane. The ones that are hypocrites, that are living elsewhere, enjoying the benefit of life, but you still wish your own brothers and sisters to be in that hellhole, then something is wrong. Something seriously is wrong. Something is wrong. Let's see what other videos we have. We have so many. We've just covered a lot of. We wanted to see if we can talk about this APC's campaign team that involves this Edu, the young lady. I keep thinking that girl must be so fine that the Tinubu administration cannot do with her. First of all, she stole a whole ministry money. She was not prosecuted. Now she's being reappointed as one of those in their campaign team. But let's hear this message from authoritarianism appeals to people who cannot tolerate complexity. Let's share that with our viewers, and then we'll go to the story of Bita Edu being reappointed into Tinubu's campaign team. There's something up with that. So authoritarianism, which is what we have now in Nigeria, dictatorship basically, appeals simply to people who cannot tolerate complexity. In twilight of democracy, This lady, Anne Applebaum, argues that the authoritarianism is not necessarily tied to the political left or right. At its core is an anti-pluralist mindset. Anti-pluralist, they don't want multiple views. A discomfort with disagreement, they don't like disagreement. A discomfort with complexity, they can't handle complexity. A discomfort with uncertainty, they don't want uncertainty. And competing ways to seeing the world. So authoritarian politics, which is what we practice in Nigeria now, becomes attractive when people prefer a single simple explanation and a unified political identity over the messy reality of democratic debate. The danger begins when disagreement is treated as disloyalty, which is what the APC government is doing now. Opponents are seen as enemies, and political diversity becomes something to eliminate rather than negotiate. Authoritarianism is therefore less a fixed ideology than a way of relating to political difference and complexity. Yeah. You see that? Did you hear that, Abdullahi? Any comment on that? It's an anti-pluralist. It's suspicious of peoples with different ideas. That's what authoritarians do, and that is what we're having, and that's why we're talking about authoritarianism. They are always allergic to a fierce debate, whether those who want to ultimately derive their politics from Marxism, nationalism, is irrelevant. It's a frame of mind, not a set of ideas. If you want to know more about this quote, try and read Anne Applebaum's book, Twilight of Democracy, The Seductive Law of Authoritarianism. That's a nice book to read. Twilight of Democracy, The Seductive Law of Authoritarianism by Anne Applebaum. So it's basically telling you that those who are authoritarian, they don't want debate. They don't like debate. They just want their way. Abdullahi, any comment on that statement? That it's a set of mind. Can Abdullahi hear me? Oh, wow. Sorry, I've not put him back on stage. Sorry, I didn't put you back on stage. Did you hear what I read about authoritarianism?
Yeah, yes, I heard what you read. You know, the network keep.
The network keep messing with all of you in Lagos. You know, you're not the only ones having problem. You know, this guy, Dele Parotimi, could not do his broadcast also because of the network. He had his page up.
Yes,
So, and Ibukun also could not join us from Lagos, and so it's just you and me. Go ahead.
yes, you know what is happening. That's why we are discussing. Because if you look at the authoritarianism, and you will like relate it with Bigmanism, is something very similar.
It is.
Because if you look at the actions of the RIUNA we have in Nigeria currently, is that they always want to take charge. They always want to be in charge, and they always want to prove to you that their own idea is the superior idea.
That is true.
That's why it's what is in practice in Nigeria. Autocracy, authoritarianism is what is happening.
It's terrible. So let us go to something else. We've taken care of that. Let's talk about this. Should we talk about the illegal agency first, or let's talk about the political campaign and how they picked all these people who have committed crime back into the APC political campaign. We'll come back and talk about that actress called Ogogo, actor called Ogogo. Corruption is not a crime in Tinubu's government. In his 2027 campaign council, he has reappointed Bita Edu, Ngozi Olejema, let me tell you about Bita Edu. Bita Edu has been suspended. Let me share this with the crowd so they can see.
Yes, I
Yeah,
think
Bita
it's just
Edu.
that
Go ahead. Go ahead.
placing the names,
You say what?
the maybe the person that they are, the person that designed the this thing, the names are exchanged because the young lady is the better head while the Ngozi is the other old
Yeah,
woman.
Ngozi Olejema. Yeah, the person switched the pictures. Yeah, yeah, and that's why
Yes,
I'm saying that because the other picture is for Beta Edu. Beta Edu must be so pretty to these APC people that they can't just let go of her. They don't want to let go of Fine Girl, even though Fine Girl not criminal. It's not. This girl was suspended in 2024 over an alleged 385 million fraud, and now you're making her a campaign council member. What is it with what hold does Better do have on these APC people? Is it now that fine face I've been awaiting? I've been as a figure eight. I
you
just
know,
don't know. The same
to
thing
me,
is
since when she
Ngozi
was suspended without punished,
without what?
it means since when she was suspended without being punished or taken to court for anything. So it seems that to me it's even more a game. To me, it's not something serious.
Oh Jesus. These people are something else. So but I don't even know what word to use. Babangida was right. Compared to him, he is a saint. These people compared to Babangida, Babangida is really a saint, to be honest. He was right as much as we dislike Babangida for his criminality. These people are taking
Yes, but
corruption and criminality to another level, to an unbelievable level. Ngozi Olejema is facing EFCC prosecution over an alleged 1 billion fraud. He's now a member of the campaign council. So right now in Nigeria, corruption has stopped being a scandal. It's no longer a scandal. It's now basically a strategy. And there's an article to
it's
that. We're
not
going
a
to read it
scandal.
out. Should we
That's
put the
why we
article?
can still refer back to our program where they state that there is no morality in politics.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, where there should be morality, because this is what is happening now is madness. This is insanity. This is crazy.
Because
This is
the people you
treason.
keep
This is
around
treason.
yourself
Are thieves and
define
criminals.
who you are.
Bajabia Mila, criminal. Two fake ministries have been discovered now. Two fake ministries that the public money goes into, and everything just seems normal to these people.
And nobody is
Should we
taking
do
responsibility.
should we do a mindset for this article by Boniface Uzoma Chilaka? Should we do a mind map of it if you want, and so that I can read it out and we can translate it? Where this is not accountability, this is political recycling. When political loyalty survives corruption allegation, corruption has ceased to be a crime that government fight. It has become a currency of politics. Boniface Uzoma Chilaka. Thank you, Boniface Uzoma Chilaka, for that. What happened to these cases? Where is the investigations concluded? Where were they cleared? If so, by whom? And where is the report? What is happening in that country? What is going on with us? This is what should be the
This is
headline by
just
our
telling us
media.
that they might have their own way back to the government,
But issues like this is what your media should be talking about.
and nobody is
What
talking
happened to
about
the
it.
nobody is talking about this. What happened to the cases? Where is the investigation? Who cleared them? Where is the report? Should we do this and should we read this article, or should we just move on? I don't know. It's up to you. There's an article to it. We could do it by mind map if we want, or I could just read it. Let's read it first, then we'll decide if we do the mind map, right?
Yes, let's read it and see how
Let's
we
read it
do it.
first. Okay, by Uzoma Chilaka. When corruption stops being a scandal and becomes a strategy, by Boniface Uzoma Chilaka. I have seen governments that tolerated corruption I have seen leaders who look the other way when powerful people were accused of stealing public money. But I honestly struggle to recall a government in which the line between fighting corruption and accommodating politically useful people accused of corruption has become this blurred. And that is what makes the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration particularly disturbing. The latest example is almost too brazen to ignore. President Tinubu 2027 campaign council includes President Tinubu 2027 campaign council includes Bita Idu, who was suspended by the president in January 2024 after controversy over an alleged 585 million transfer to a private account, and Ngozi Olejema, who is facing an EFCC prosecution involving an alleged 1 billion financial crime. Importantly, allegations are not convictions, and both individuals are entitled to due process. But that is precisely why Nigeria deserves to know what happened to these cases. Were they concluded? Were the individuals clear? If so, by whom? And where is the report? Instead, one appears before Nigerians not as convicted criminals, but as political campaign operative. The other gets a prominent role in the same campaign machinery seeking to return the president to Aso Rock. Really? Oh my God, what a country. Is this how we rebuild public confidence in government? Tinubu himself once suspended Bita Idu and ordered an investigation. Yet today, she has been appointed Director of Women Mobilization in 2027 Presidential Campaign Council. Ngozi Olejema, meanwhile, has been given a South-South zonal role for election planning and mobilization, despite her pending case. This is why I find the African Democratic Congress description of the campaign council as a rehabilitation center for corruption suspects painfully apt. The ADC has asked the government to explain what became of the outstanding cases. That is perfectly legitimate question, because corruption is not defeated merely by arresting someone, suspending them for a while, or making headlines and then quietly bringing them back when their political usefulness returns. This is not accountability. This is political recycling. And perhaps that is why my biggest problem with the Tinubu presidency. If you're genuinely committed to fighting corruption, you don't merely tell Nigerians that you are fighting it. They are not committed, and they never told you that they are committed. You make the process transparent. You publish the outcome. You prosecute where there is evidence. You clear the people where there isn't. And you don't leave Nigerians guessing whether an investigation has disappeared because the person involved has become politically useful. I have seen leaders who were friends with corrupt people. But under Tinubu, I increasingly see something more troubling. Political loyalty appears capable of surviving corruption allegation. And when political usefulness becomes more important than the unresolved questions surrounding a person's integrity, corruption has ceased to be merely a crime that government fight. It has become a currency of politics. That for me is the real danger. Boniface Uzoma Chilaka. One thing before you comment, Abdullah, is that Nigerians, we pretend a lot as if we don't see what's going on. We here at the Movement Radio, I keep telling you that that Nigeria has been captured by the most rapacious class of evil men. You have criminals in power, you don't expect no form of justice. When criminals are making laws, you don't expect no form of justice. We will go, after this article, we will go into the FBI files on Tinubu and why Tinubu is fighting for them not to release the FBI files. In fact, there's just so much to talk on that one. We don't know how much time we have to handle that. And Nigerians keep pretending as if they don't know the extent of the damage. And you will see crazy comment like, who are you to have the dwelling in the past of whom he might have forgiven? These are bankrupt minds. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, who is covered by one stupid Ojo Ezekiah. How is your past life? As we say, we have no sin. We deceive ourselves and there is no truth in us. Politics should not be a fertile ground upon which sins of the past will be adjudged. We need someone who will salvage our land. Don't forget, Moses was a murderer. These are the type of stupid argument that comes out of corrupt Nigerians, like Ojo Ezekiah. That's one of those mentally ill people. I just got to give you that. Ojo Ezekiah, if you're hearing me. Let me see the comment of Abdullahi Abdusalam. If Tinubu can sign into law that certificate forgery is no longer an issue of electoral matter, don't be surprised by any other thing under Tinubu. This guy is a drug baron, so don't let anything shock you. But what shocks me is argument of people like Ojo and Zakaya that wants to argue that transgression of the past should be forgiven. These are criminal minds running a country. So when Donald Trump described it as a shithole, he was not wrong. This place is worse than a shithole. This is worse than a shithole. He was not wrong in any way or form. So as I was saying, you're hearing me, Abdullahi. I know you keep going on and on. You see, it's not the Tinubu criminality that bothers me. It's the response of these dead brain Nigerians like that Ojo Ezekiah that I just read his comment. You know, people like that. Anyway, we've talked about that, about the types of Tinubu supporters. This idiot on Facebook called Ojo Ezekiah is saying that your sins of the past should be forgiven. When you have idiots like that, then you have criminals like this. Let me hear your comment before we go to the FBI file. I don't think we should do a mind map of this. I think it's pretty straightforward. What do you think?
Yes,
Go ahead with your
yes,
comment.
it's very straightforward. Let's just keep moving. And you know
Yeah,
what? People like Ojo Ezekiah and many others some, and it's not even believe that he should be forgiven. Some they didn't even believe that they even commit the crime
yeah. Yeah, that's the
because so
denial
many
they
people
give
they
themselves.
have, yes, even the denial. And you know some people have already, they have, as the realness have already normalized corruption to the extent
Yeah.
that people see anybody who steal, who loot public funds as someone who just make good use of the opportunity given to him. And
It
then
is
you see
sad.
them celebrated everywhere and giving them public, inviting them for public occasions, respecting them as if they have done nothing wrong. So that immorality in our society has eaten deep to the
It
extent that people
has.
don't even see stealing and corruption as anything bad, but as like being smart.
Hmm. It is crazy, man. This is crazy.
Because this is clearly saying that it's encouraging even the younger generation that are coming into politics or anything, that I say, look, forget about morality, just do the way you fit. When you have opportunity, loot as much as you can, because if you can look, the gates keep expanding. Because when Goodluck left power, we were discussing the Dasuki gate, but when Buhari left power, we are, we are hearing different revelations.
Hmm.
Then now we are seeing even within, even people not even leaving power. Within the power, they are still giving us some kind of unimaginable things. fake ministry, who the person, the chief of staff should be responsible, the head of service should be responsible, the accountant general should be responsible, auditor general should be responsible.
I'm saying by now they all should have been arrested or interviewed
Yes,
or interrogated.
definitely, because
This is
for a ministry to exist, then what's the work of the chief of staff? What is the work of the head of service? The accountant general that facilitate the transfer of money to that, then the ministry of finance, the auditor general that goes and say that you audit things, then the also those house of representative members, the senate, that said they scrutinize before they approve budget. How do they scrutinize the ministry and the ministries pass through?
my fear is what message are they sending to the young ones? While I express
They
that
are
fear, I
telling
want
you,
to thank. Yeah, it's terrible. I want to quickly thank our guest on our those who have joined us on Instagram, Kentucky, Osun, Ola 184, Malam 447, and the rest, and also on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. Continue, Abdullahi, please.
yes, what they are telling the younger generation is that them too, you either do like us or you do more than us, and they are widening the gap. Just explaining issues that okay, it's either you struggle at, because the road for you to escape from, just like the way Karl Marx they classify the class struggle between the
Yeah.
bourgeoisie and the proletariat. Because in Nigeria, to me, there is no that working class, because it's either you are rich or you are poor. Because
It's
that working
terrible.
class that we always look at, because they are also poor. Because within 30 days, no matter what kind of work you are doing in Nigeria, it's only when you are not, maybe you are getting something somewhere. But within 30 days, you won't be able, what they are paying you will not even sustain you. You must accumulate a lot of debt before the month end. And once you collect, you settle the debt and you start accumulating another debt. So your life is more of a vicious cycle. Keep repeating the same thing over and over again. That's why you can't leave the job. You must do the job for 35 years. At the end of the day, you start struggling on how you get your entitlement.
This is terrible.
That's
I'm saying
why they are
despite
just the
that,
bourgeoisies, and then the poor are
and despite that, insecurity continues around the country. You look at their newspaper headline, like today's Sunday Telegraph. You can see Plateau massacre. Our attackers killed everyone on site, including a 1-year-old survivor. You see, all the madness still continues, and these people, I don't know. Before we go to some articles about the FBI case, let's read a little bit about who the FBI is talking about here and why they are fighting not to release. If they can release the Epstein file, then they should be able to release the Tinubu files. If the Epstein files can be released, the Tinubu files should be released. But first, who are we talking? Who is this Tinubu guy? Some people have him as he was born Yekini Amoda Ogunlere. He became Bola A Tinubu, where the A can be Ahmed or Adekunle, depending on the need for northern Muslim vote. His sex is female in the US, male in Nigeria. His date of birth is 29 March 1954 before CSU, and 29th of March 1954 in CSU. So 1955 and 1950, two different dates of birth. And March 29, 1952, according to APC, that's 3 dates of birth right there for your president. His nationalities and citizenship is Nigerian according to the APC, and is a US citizen according to Chicago State University's record. and he's from Guinea, according to available passports. Oh my God. Primary school education. He purported to have attended St. John Primary School, Aroloya, and Lagos, and Children Home School, Ibadan, or St. Paul Children's School and Children Home School, Abeokuta, or no school home taught. Depends on the biography you read. Oh my goodness. Secondary school education. He went to a fake version of government college, Lagos, that did not exist in 1970. The real school was established 4 years later after Tinubu attended it, according to Chicago State University record. I think Chicago State University is complicit in this crime. I really believe so, because there's just too much
That's why
conflicting reports.
we said it's not just
That's
they are not
probably
just covering him.
they're probably covering the American institutions that are complicit in this mafia crime. But that's probably why the FBI and the CIA don't want the information released, because they are complicit. They probably helped him slug his name into Chicago State. Who knows? The truth will come out. But I tell you one thing though, when this guy leaves office called Tinubu, or when he dies and they make a Hollywood movie about him, it's going to be one of the best-selling Hollywood blockbusters, because his life story is so filled with so many intrigues and crime and drugs and CIA, FBI.
Full of
It's
questions.
and for him to rise from nobody to become a governor, a senator, and a president in Nigeria, I mean, that in itself
A
is a
force must be
storybook
behind
for
him.
hot-selling storybook for those who know how to tell stories. So when he's gone and all these things finally comes out to the public, it's going to be a blockbuster Hollywood movie. I wonder who they will pick to act Tinubu. Let me continue with his biography that I have in front of me here before we go to the FBI files and the CIA files, while the CIA and the FBI or the United States don't want this information released. It's information of a drug dealer released to the public under the Freedom of Information Act. So primary school, we covered that. Secondary school is a fake version of government college that did not exist in 1970, but real school was established in 1974. But the Chicago State University seems to have a record of that. I don't know. Chicago State too has a criminal affiliation that school needs to be. Anyway, since the FBI is protecting information, they're all conniving together in this crime against 250 million people. Tertiary education, allegedly, Chicago State University, but asking for university record will cause him severe and irreparable harm. That's what was said in the courts. So yeah, he said he went to Chicago State University, but when the record was asked to be released from Chicago State University, it will cause him severe and irreparable harm. His employment history. Deloitte, he said he worked at Deloitte. Deloitte denies that his claim that he worked for them, but the FBI and the Drug Enforcement Agency has him as a drug trafficker, allegedly, never faced trial. They have him as a drug baron, a drug lord, allegedly, never faced a complete trial. Drug money laundered, the CIA, and Rat Remy, his wife, Tinubu, full FBI confirmation in view in 2026. Is the godfather of enslavement of Lagos State, apparently. He captured Lagos State and since then been looting through Alpha Beta pipeline, allegedly. So current job, destroying the international reputation, lives, and future of Nigeria. This guy, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or Bola Adekunle Tinubu, 3 dates of birth. Nothing about him. This is crazy. You know who I have to blame? I blame the military. Then Babangida, then Obasanjo, then Buhari. How did such a man like this rise? No, did you never did a background check or something? Oh God, what a country. Yeah, and somebody if they explain that country to you and you understand, you are a genius, man. You are. I don't know which of the FBI articles we should take. There's so many of them out there. Should we take Tinubu? Whose interest does he serve by Kyo Amatre? I think we should start with that. Let's see what I have on him on Facebook first before we go to X. Let's see what I got on him on Facebook. Abdullah, do I still have you there? These people keep taking you in and out. Oh my, no easy to deal with network.
Yes.
How many hours we don't deal on? Maybe try put in 30 more minutes. Make we call it a day today. We don't deal on for almost 2 hours. So let's put in 30
Yes.
minutes because the network is really bad. We're not even able to do our complete interactive conversation. We don't have Ibukun, and you keep going off and on. Let's do 30 minutes on these Tinubu FBI stories, and then we'll call it a day. We'll continue on whenever we can continue, because the stories never
Yes.
end. It's like a Pandora. It's like a Pandora box. A Pandora box just keep coming, never gives. I've never seen anything like
Yes.
this. I mean, we get problem. We get problem. We get
Big
serious
one.
problem. I don't know how else to tell you. Nigeria's got big serious problem. Oh my God. It's
A
just
big time
all
problem
bad
that
news.
we have to. That's why I'm afraid if the man becomes an established tyrant,
It
it
will
is going to
finish.
be a continuous process.
Look, I have told you guys, nobody's listening. Right now, Nigeria is in 1934-33 Germany, and we are going to 1939 to 1945. What will happen? Total destruction of Germany. That's where we are going. And there would not be a Marshall Plan to rescue us if we have this one man rule. This criminal with evidential evidence available worldwide that this drug baron, no real name, no real date of birth, no real school, has a one man rule in that
E-
country. All the
Everything
elites that are
controversial.
supporting him, you know what will happen for us? All those supporting him are those that the lion would first of all eat up if this guy is fully
Yes,
entrenched.
definitely.
All
Now,
these educated people,
when the
all these
lions start
judges.
operating, it should start with the friends first.
Oh, before we go to the FBI, I wanted to also mention Buratai's rubbish statement, former Minister of Defense or whatever his title is. We'll talk about that, but let's talk
No,
about the
former
FBI first.
chief of army staff under
Former Chief
Buhari
of Army Staff, Elder
and
Buhari, yeah, that one.
ambassador by where
You
Tinubu
can
gave
see
him
that.
ambassadorial.
Oh, Tinubu gave him ambassadorial position. No wonder. Of course, he would defend his own mouth. Its own mouth. So what should come out of his mouth is what come out of his ass is what is coming out of his mouth. I want to glance through my Facebook page, see if there's any news I'm missing out before I go to the FBI files. There's so much of the FBI files. Can we go to some good news first before we start on the FBI files? I'm so tired of all this Tinubu bad news. I like this lady. She always gives us good things to think about. Let's hear
Will
what
it
she has
still
to
be
say.
Europe's fault if in 10 years our streets stay like this? Will it still be Europe's fault if in 10 years we have these same people in power? Will it still be Europe's fault if in 10 years the literacy rate just doesn't move because we prioritize religious teachings over school education? Will it still be Europe's fault if in 10 years our streets stay like this? Will it still be Europe's fault if in 10 years we have these same people in power? Will it still be Europe's fault if in 10 years the literacy rate just doesn't move because we prioritize religious teachings over school education? Will it still be Europe's fault if in 10 years we still have more and more young girls and women having to go to Europe or America to get operated because we keep practicing FGM on them? Will it still be Europe's fault if in 10 years children are still begging in the streets? Will it still be Europe's fault if in 10 years our people still do not get access to clean drinking water, and electricity. At what point are we going to realize that nobody's coming to save us? The only people that can save Africa is Africans. The rest of the world is not going to save us. If you can't protect yourself, the rest of the world is not going to protect you. And you will still be a victim for the rest of your life. And this is the path that we're going down. I mean, it's the path that we've been on for so long, and it seems as though we just don't want to change it.
It's so sad. Okay, that's that from her. Sometimes we don't want to accept responsibility, accountability, or whatever it is we are to do. We are calling on God to come and solve the problem that He already created us to solve. Okay? Who is telling Nigerians the truth? We'll come back to the fake ministries later on. I just want to take on these FBI stories. There's so many articles regarding these FBI stories, and then we'll cover whatever else we'll cover. We're working on time now, right? We said, Abdullah, we said 30 minutes, correct? We want to cut it off in 30 minutes. That should be enough talking.
Yes.
Yeah, let's try and do that, but keep to time. Try to see. So let's start with the files they cannot show us from Abuja Network News. Let's have this picture of the drug being wrapped, cocaine being wrapped, and all that. We're dealing with drug dealers. This is bigger than El Chapo, or El Chapo, or whatever. This is big news, and that's your Nigerian president. The files they cannot show us. What is the FBI hiding about Bola Tinubu? A word to those who come onto my timeline to insult me for seeking the truth about Bola Tinubu. We don't even see anybody coming out here to insult us. Because they know we're going to give it to them good. Let them come for telling the truth. Abdullah, please be adding your comment. But we thank those that are listening to us.
They can't come at the moment because now they are afraid because they think that we are well grounded.
Yeah, they know we are well grounded. We're ready for them. Okay, let's read it. A word to those who will come to our timeline to come talk rubbish. Defending a man at the center of... Okay. Let me start. A word for those who come onto my timeline to insult for seeking the truth about Bola Tinubu or whatever his real name is. Think carefully about your future. Defending a man at the center of this level of national embarrassment is guilt by association, a display of low morality or worse. Consider what is now on the public record established in the United States Federal Court. In 1993, Tinubu surrendered $460,000 to the American government in a civil forfeiture tied to a Chicago heroin trafficking investigation. Judge Barry Howell of the United States District Court for the District of Columbia has ruled in black and white that Tinubu was a subject of criminal investigation by both the FBI and the Drug Enforcement Agency, and that the agency's attempts to hide this fact were neither logical nor plausible. And now, this week, the most telling development of all, facing a final court deadline on August 21, the FBI did not release the files. Instead, on August 20, it filed a motion asking the judge for permission to explain its reasons in a secret, ex parte and in camera, hidden from the public, claiming that disclosure could endanger life and expose law enforcement techniques. Endanger whose life, we ask? Expose what techniques? Ask yourself, what kind of record about a sitting African president requires this level of protection? 3 decades later, 30 years later, these are precisely the exemptions used to shield informant and intelligence assets. The FBI owns filing now raised the very question Nigerians have whispered for years. During my own investigation, I was approached by a man who spent years in prison in Chicago, who had his own story to tell about who put him there. The more I learned, the more alarmed I became. The Epstein files were bad, really bad. We all read what the most powerful men in the world got up to behind closed doors. So ask yourself, what could possibly be in these files that the FBI consider it too dangerous even to explain in public? Nigeria is a nation over 200 million people, blessed with brilliant minds who could and should lead her. Instead, we are held to ransom by a secret held in Washington, the most important security question in our entire history. A president so compromised by a foreign power cannot negotiate for Nigeria. He cannot look American officials in the eye. He should resign immediately. And to his enablers and defenders, every threat you make, every defense you mount, exposes your complicity to the world. History is watching, so are we. This is written by Kyo Amatre, founder and president of the Worldwide International Letters from Stockholm. The views expressed by the author are based on publicly available court record in Aaron Grispan versus Executive Office for the U.S. Attorney General, Civil Action Number 23-1816 BAH. President Tinubu has consistently denied all wrongdoing and has never been criminally charged. Okay, this is the intro to our FBI file cases. I hope our 20 minutes left will be enough for us to handle this. There's still more to read because all the articles just keep popping up left and right on this FBI case.
Following the example that we have created, when we are tired,
hold on, the articles just keep popping up. Okay, so let me remove our Facebook page so we can hear Abdullah's comment. That's just the intro to the FBI Tinubu files. We got so much going on this.
Yes,
What you got to say, Abdullah? Go
that
ahead.
poses a lot of questions because for an African, we know the culture of the Americans. They are the first.
Yeah.
If you are not for them, or you are not someone very important to them, and important in the sense that you are serving their not only their interests, you are directly working for them.
That's
They
right.
won't cover you this much because if it's not someone that they have like more, they are like maybe when you say they are the ones benefiting like the large percentage of his governance, so
Yeah.
it means they won't be able to cover him this because we know in other countries across Africa you'll be seeing them, they will be releasing some kind of information even without even them being invited
Yeah.
or even asked to. But here they keep covering since 2022, 2023. We have been battling these issues, but the report has not been released and no clear statement that okay, this is why we cannot give out this information. And them saying that maybe lives will be lost and so many things. So now our life not been because as for you to have a leader that has questionable character and he put a lot of doubt in what actually that man is doing because it's breach of public trust. If that person you can't know like let's say 80 to 90% of his life, because anybody who has a public office is a public property, so he has
Yeah.
very limited private life.
Yes. Yeah, let's keep
So
the
everything should
conversation short.
be
Abdullahi, let's keep it short so we can cover more. There's too many articles on this Tinubu FBI case. I got another one here quickly that I want to read, and we're running out of time. We got like about 15 minutes left or so. So
yeah.
let's take another one. Tinubu's president of Nigeria or instrument of Western power. Again by letters from Stockholm, Kyo Amatre. Now, let me state this carefully. I have seen no publicly verified document providing that Tinubu was formally recruited by American, French, or British intelligence. But his conduct raises a question that Nigerians have every right to ask. Whose interest does this man actually serve? Almost immediately after becoming ECOWAS chairman, Tinubu placed military intervention against Niger on the table. He instructed his government to prepare options He instructed his government to prepare options that included deploying Nigerian troops, impose sanction and help cut electricity supply to a neighboring African country, all while France openly supported ECOWAS military action against the new authorities in Niamey. Nigerian Senate, northern political leaders, and overwhelming domestic opposition forced him to retreat from the brink. Without that resistance, Nigerian soldiers might have been sent to fight and kill fellow Africans in a war that would have conveniently served France, collapsing strategic position in the Sahel. What independent African president displays such enthusiasm? What independent African president would display such enthusiasm for a war against neighboring Africans while insecurity consumes his own country? Then came Benin Republic, when soldiers attempted to overthrow President Patrice Talon in December 2025. Tinubu sent Nigerian fighter aircraft and ground forces across the border. France supplied intelligence and logistical support and reportedly shared intelligence with Nigeria. President Emmanuel Macron spoke with Tinubu and Talon during the crisis. Nigeria and France were once again operating on the same side of a military intervention in a francophone Africa. The coup leader was not executed, as some reports have claimed. Colonel Tigri Pascal reportedly escaped to Togo. But the essential fact remains: Tinubu deployed Nigerian military power abroad while Nigerians were being kidnapped, murdered, and displayed at home. Then the United States carried out strikes in Nigerian territory. These were not technically an uninvited American attack. Tinubu approved them, and both governments described them as coordinated counter-terrorism operations. But that makes the constitutional and political questions more urgent, not less urgent. What agreement did Tinubu make with Washington? What operational freedom was granted to the United States? What evidence justified target? What civilian safeguard existed? What continuing military presence or intelligence arrangements were accepted? Instead of addressing Nigerians with the seriousness demanded when a foreign military fires weapons inside their country, Tinubu thanked Donald Trump for his leadership and support. He behaved less like the president of a sovereign African power and more like a grateful junior partner receiving protection from his patron. This pattern extends beyond military affairs. Tinubu's administration has drawn Nigeria closer to France precisely as Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger has expelled French forces and rejected Paris' old spheres of influence. His government has pursued controversial strategic and economic agreements with France, including cooperations involving critical minerals, resources that should be guarded as instruments of Nigerian sovereignty, not offered as reassurance to anxious foreign powers. Then there is the Britain, the Gilbert Chagori. During Tinubu March 2026 state visit to the United Kingdom, Chagori reportedly joined the Nigerian delegation connected to financing arrangement for the refurbishment of the Lagos-Apapa Tinkan Island port. The work was entrusted to a company belonging to the Chagori business empire with British export finance support. Chagori is not merely a casual acquaintance, he is Tinubu's longtime associate and a businessman whose companies has benefited enormously valuable federal project under this administration. I cannot state as a fact that Chagori is Tinubu's intelligence handler. No, publicly verified evidence established that allegation. But his extraordinary access, his presence around international state business and scale of contract associated with his company justified a full parliamentary investigation. Who selected him? Who negotiated this contract? What competitive process was followed? What national security screening took place? Why was a private businessman so deeply embedded in a presidential state visit involving strategic Nigerian infrastructure? A sovereign president cooperates with foreign countries when cooperation serves its people. A compromised government repeatedly serves foreign strategic interests while concealing its agreement with its own citizens. Tinubu threatened war against Niger while France was losing its grip on the Sahel. Tinubu used Nigerian air power in Benin while France supplied intelligence and logistic support. Tinubu authorized American strike inside Nigeria and publicly thanked Washington. Tinubu carried a politically connected businessman into the heart of British state visit, while that businessman's corporate network stood to benefit from strategic port project. One incident may be diplomacy, two may be coincidence. but an accumulative pattern of military alignment, economic dependency, opaque agreements, and privileged intermediaries demand scrutiny. Nigeria must not become France's replacement. Nigeria must not become France's replacement. I'm hearing my own voice. I'm trying to tone this down. Okay. Nigeria must not become France's replacement military platform in West Africa. Americans on examine operation. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. I'm hearing my own voice trying to stop the echo. Yeah. Nigeria must not become France's replacement military platform in West Africa. Americans on examine operational territory of Britain's export finance marketplace. Nigerian soldiers' territory, minerals, ports, and public money belong to the Nigerian people. The National Assembly must publish and investigate every relevant military intelligence, mineral infrastructure, and export finance agreement made with the United States, France, and the United Kingdom under Tinubu. Until then, Nigerians are entitled to ask, is Bola Tinubu defending Nigerian sovereignty or administering Nigeria on behalf of outside powers? Now, that's from Q Amashre. We thank him for that article. The cartoon picture shows exactly what Tinubu is. He's a puppet of foreign powers, and he's compromised beyond words. I think we have a comment from Facebook, from Stretch. Okay, we got that. So your comments, Abdullahi, as we are running out of time. Are we rushing
Yes,
too much, or
actually,
should we?
the
Are we
article
rushing too
actually
much, or
described,
should? What did you say?
no, I said the article actually described the current president because in
Yes,
every of his move seems suspicious
it
because
does.
the swift response to Benin Republic, while we have a lot of crisis, security issues within Nigeria, and when you place call to any of the security infrastructure in Nigeria, you will have delay response. But when it happens in Benin Republic, it's very swift. And even when he came into power and became the president, the chairman of the ECOWAS community, look at his aggressive response to some of the francophone countries, because and those countries, if you look at it in the recent of things, they are trying to like have a way of reducing the impact of the colonial powers in their own country.
That's
So
true.
Nigeria is gradually becoming like the head boy of the Western power.
Yeah. Abdullahi, have you ever seen the movie The Manchurian Candidate? You
No,
should
I
see
don't
that
know.
movie.
I saw, but I do not watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, Tinubu looks like the Manchurian president. Like he has like he's anyway, the court documents in the United States declare him as an active CIA asset. So that's why they're protecting his information. But for now, the question spreading across Nigerian social media is blunt. If the FBI is worried about protecting Tinubu's life, who is protecting the lives of the thousands of Nigerians dying from insecurity? That question is likely to remain at the center of the controversy as the August 28th deadline approaches. You know?
To me, I
So,
think it's even if his issues like that will keep coming up. If the FBI are saying that his file or they will not release his files because he's someone of high, they regard someone very high or classy individual that they cannot release his information. So he is disqualified to be a Nigerian president.
it shouldn't even have reason to be a president if Nigeria was a working country. This is a person you all don't know his background, you don't know his real name, you don't know his real age, He has no record of primary or secondary school that he attended. He has a controversial record of a university in the Chicago that he attended. I mean, come on. There are too many red lights for such a person to rise to be a governor. Money shouldn't be the determinant of national security alone. Then that means you have no national security. You have no country. You are indeed a country that has a gate, but no fence. That's why somebody like Tinubu can walk into your country and rise to be your president. Because this is a serious national security issue, and he is the
Yes,
number one
yes, it's a
person.
serious because you can't trouble with your security issues because someone that is working for other people or seems to be very someone of high regard to other nations, then Nigeria doesn't have its own sovereignty.
Hold on. Continue there.
I say it means we don't have sovereign. Nigeria is not a sovereign nation. It's just colonialism exchanging hands from the British to the Americans.
Sorry about that. I don't know. The face page just keep coming up. Continue. Abdullah.
So that's why I said if it is true that Nigerians means serious business, this person has no place to even be within the political candidate that anybody will sit and scrutinize.
Yeah. And then to make matters worse, people like your former, is it army chief, Burata, are trying
Yes,
to whitewash the
Burata,
story.
chief of army staff.
Let me share that. That's just what's wrong with us? People who should be arrested for their security failure. How did you let somebody like Tinubu rise in the rank that he was not arrested if you truly have a country? You know,
And
resist
we
foreign
say we have
interference.
NIA, we have Interpol.
We have NIA, we have NSS, DSS. What are these? Their job? No real name, no real age. Nothing about this man is real. And he's your number one person. Oh no. This is crazy. These are treasonable offenses that if this were to happen in China or Indonesia or any nation, all the military heads will be arrested and executed immediately by firing squad for treason because they have failed to do their job to protect the country from external and internal enemies. And we don't even know which one Tinubu is right now. We can't even define him. Is he internal or is he external? We don't know. And
I
he's
think it's
begging the
both.
FBI. I think it's both. And he's begging the FBI not to release his record. How did he rise to be your president? So all those who have been chief of army staff, chief of security staff in the past, from 1960 or 1970 or 1980 or whatever time they want to start counting, should be arrested and executed if it was a real country for treason, for failure to protect that country from someone like Tinubu. Then all the judges who approved him, all the INEC leaders, all the leaders should be arrested and executed immediately for treason, for allowing an enemy inside the country. Now we don't know if it's controlled by the West. We don't know who's controlling it. All we know is that he's begging that the FBI should not release his information. It will endanger life. Whose life is he going to endanger? The lives of the people already dying
Apart
in
from the
Nigeria.
lives of thousands of Nigerians that are dying.
We cease to look at him. You were what position did you say Buratai held when he was there?
Chief of army staff.
He should be arrested and executed. Because look at him coming out that we should resist foreign interference. Foreign interference is already our number one person. And you, so what are we resisting? Let me read the article somebody wrote. Amaka Blessing Nwachukwu. I totally disagree. Am I sharing it? I wanted to share it. Let me see
Yes,
if I
you are
share it.
sharing it.
Okay. He said we should read. Can you imagine the rubbish coming out of the former chief of army staff regarding this issue? The CIA, the FBI, the drug enforcement are begging that they should not release this man's information, and he is your president. And this idiot, who was once a former army chief, is coming out to say rubbish. Nigeria is finished. So when they explain that country to you and you understand, you yourself, you've gone mad. Let's just quickly read this and
Yes,
then we
that's
can end
why.
our
That's how
show.
it is. Because if they explain Nigeria to you and you understand, so it means you are mad.
It means you're mad. If they explain it to you and you understand, it means you yourself have gone mad, because everything defiles logic right now. Everything that is happening, it defiles logic, it defiles reasoning, it defiles common sense, it defies humanity. It doesn't make sense. You just got to go, huh? How could that happen? What? Huh? You just got to make those sound. Really? What did you just say? Are you kidding me? That's what's going on here.
Some just use it for fun.
What?
People
Oh,
use
let
it
me
to
see.
joke.
They should not make joke out of this serious issue. This is a national
No,
security failure. A national security failure. And all security officers involved should be arrested and executed immediately. It's like having an enemy within during war. This is worse than treason. And look at the former chief of army staff coming out to say rubbish, manipulate words. Let's read what Amaka Blessing Nwachukwu has to say on that. I totally disagree. First of all, the former minister of defense, or whatever his rank is saying that we should resist foreign interference. What do you mean foreign interference? The foreigners are trying to save your president, who is already one of them. As if Nigerians are the ones being accused of drug peddling, as if Nigerians are the ones being accused of fake certificate, as if Nigeria. It's your president that
so
has
who
all
are the
this
foreign
baggage.
interference?
I don't know. That's why I said this man is another madman. So if they explain Nigeria to you, you will be baffled. So who are the foreign interference now? The FBI or the CIA that Tinubu is their asset? And how are Nigerians going to resist it? Are they trying to protect Nigerians or trying to protect Tinubu? We did not
Him is
elect an
just holding
American
his
court to
position,
vet our
trying to
leaders.
protect himself.
They're trying to protect themselves. All of them should, in a real country, if that country was a country with a fence, we have a gate, but we have no fence. People like this will be immediately picked up for treason, failure to do their job, and executed. In China, they won't even last a day. And he's going
To
to
me,
say,
I think
now
someone
he's
like Brother
transferring.
is not even
Look at what he's doing.
lack even the
He's
moral integrity.
they have no moral integrity. He's transferring Tinubu's burden to Nigerians, as if Nigerians were the one that did the drug dealing. Nigerians were the ones that have no certificate. Nigerians are the ones that have all this Tinubu's baggage that the FBI is trying to protect. So Nigerians should resist on
Because
behalf of Tinubu. Are you serious? What Nigeria going
because
to do with this?
he's the same chief of army staff from Northeast, where trillions of naira were spent under Buhari, and we did not see anything resolved.
So Nigerians
And
now should start fighting American courts. That's what he's saying on behalf of Tinubu. I don't understand it. This man is a madman, though. I swear to God. He should sometimes it's better they keep quiet rather than open their mouth. Once they open their mouth, they take away all doubts about how foolish and how stupid they are. They should be charged for treason. Let me read what Amaka Blessing Nwachukwu has to say. Amaka, of course, totally disagree with whatever this fake minister is saying. And here is why. I've seen the statement going around, resist foreign interference. We did not elect American courts to vet our leaders, Buratai. With all due respect, that framing is dangerous, let's be honest. Accountability has no nationality. If there are questions, documents, or court records about any public official, Nigerians deserve to see them. Whether it comes from Lagos, London, or Washington, truth is truth. Foreign interference can be the shield for everything. We can't cry foreign sovereignty every time there is a hard question and then run to foreign hospitals, foreign schools, foreign banks the next day. We did elect Nigerian institutions to vet our leaders. INEC, the court, EFCC, the National Assembly, the press, and you with your PVC. But you have all failed that country. If they are not doing their job, the answer is to fix them, not to block information from anywhere. Nigerian problem has never been that outsiders know too much. Our problem is that insiders hide too much. If there's nothing to hide, then transparency should be default. Release the record, let our courts and journalists do their work. Let the people decide with facts, not slogans. 2027 is coming. We can't keep kicking accountability down the road and calling it patriotism. Patriotism is demanding the highest standard from the people who want to lead us, no matter where the question is coming from. I reject the idea that asking question equals foreign interference. Asking question equals citizenship. So what do you think? Should we shut down every question because it's from abroad, or should we face it head on? Nigerian accountability 2020 transparency, we deserve better. Let's be clear, this isn't about Tinubu as a person. It isn't about America versus Nigeria. It's about the principle. Every 4 years we say this is the most important election in our lifetime. Then question come up. We say don't ask, it's foreign interference. We can't have it both ways. Real sovereignty is having strong institution at home that Nigerians can trust. INEC that is independent, courts that are bold, media that investigates, EFCC that follows the money. If those things are working, we won't need to panic about what any foreign court releases. But right now, too many Nigerians don't trust this institution. So when documents surface from anywhere, people pay attention because they are hungry for truth. So my challenge to us is, let's fix the system. Demand records, demand debate, demand that our own agency do the vetting before election day, not after. Patriotism is not silence. Patriotism is saying my country is worth the highest standard. 2027 won't fix itself. It starts with us, refusing slogans and demanding facts. What one thing you think INEC or National Assembly should do differently before to rebuild trust? Let's keep it civil. We are all on the same team, Team Nigeria. Fix our institution. Citizenship is not a crime. Can you imagine this former chief of army staff calling that foreign interference? Well, if they have done their job, they won't be in court now with FBI trying to block the record. If they in Nigeria have done their job, somebody without a name, without an identity, without a date of birth, with forged certificate, with fake schools would not rise to be your number one citizen. Let's tell ourselves the truth. All these Buratai and the rest of them should be arrested, tried and executed for treason. Don't waste our time discussing rubbish. This man should be arrested and tried. Abdullahi, over to you. Let's thank our viewers who have joined us. That's the last one we're going to be giving you for today. We've been here almost 2.5 hours. We thank you all for joining us from Facebook. We thank you. YouTube, we thank you. Twitch, we thank you. We're sorry for the audio section of our X. Didn't work out pretty much today, and we lost the Bukun due to network problems from Lagos. We only have Abuja and Chicago reporting. Thank you for our Instagram people, Kentucky, Osun, Ola, Malam, and Malam. Thank you all for that. And our TikTok people, always, the list is always too long to release, but we thank you all for joining us. The few names that I can see now, quickly call me, Egbalogbe. There's so many of them. Some are even numbers. I can't be calling those numbers. That's will take us too long. We're running and trying to close. Ed Adi, trying to stay focused. AI summary, lead Curry, Kia Baby, user 321, and then Joseph. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. It's too long. If I didn't call your name, please, it's not an oversight. It's just the names are too long. I cannot see the names on YouTube and Facebook, but I thank you all for joining the Movement Radio. This is a radio station that is trying to move our country, Nigeria, towards freedom. We're trying to change narratives, empower the minds, and the medium whereby liberations of the mind is our primary target. We believe Nigeria only has three problems: our collective silence, one; two, the enemies within, there's so many of them; and then the big man, don people like this Buratai, Tinubu, Babangida, Obasanjo, and the rest of them. Buhari, all are the big men, you know. And Nigeria only has three problems. If we can get rid of the enemies within, we believe in the movement radio, identify them, castigate them, then our voice will rise collectively and the ruiners would run away. That's an objective belief, and that's what we are pursuing, and that's why we started the movement radio, to try and educate, inform, and enlighten the minds of Nigerians. We believe that Nigerian struggle has been mischaracterized as a pro-democracy one. A lot of Nigerians have died over this pro-democracy issue, but they've all died in vain and for nothing, because that's not the real issue. It is not a pro-democracy problem. It is a liberation struggle, but the liberation struggle is a one that is awaiting the minds that are conscious. 99.9% of Nigerian minds are not conscious. Now, Nigeria right now has been captured, have been hijacked by a most rapacious, a most satanic, a most evil class of evil men. And it is our duty to speak up, speak out, and speak against them, so that the people can liberate themselves from this evil that has put in a bondage upon the people. This is why we exist. This is why we do the movement radio. Now we are here to counter opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them. But some are shitty as hell. It's our primary duty to point it out. So you don't come to our studio and give out shitty opinions. We will let you know how shitty your opinion is. Just like this Buratai's opinion about foreign interference. That is shitty as hell. Excuse our language. So that is what I've got here from Chicago. I'm Alaba Ferreira for the Movement Radio. Thank you from joining us, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you all for joining us. I'm handing over the last speech to Abdullahi Salusi from Abuja. We will be closing on behalf of Ibukun Oluwa from Lagos, and then we will call it a day and see you for a fresh episode on Tuesday, and a repeated episode today and tomorrow. Thank you. Abdullahi, over to you. Close it up for us.
Okay, thank you, audience. Thank you all for staying tuned, and we all respect you. We respect your opinion across all the social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, wherever you are, and wherever your geographical location. So we say thank you, and you will implore you to always come, invite one, invite two, invite as many as you can. Let's have it as many as we can, because this is Nigerian project, and Movement Radio is the voice of liberation. We hear, we educate, we inform, we don't entertain, but we what? We enlighten. Because in Nigeria at the moment, we don't need entertainment, we need education, we need information, and we need to be enlightened, so that we'll be able to liberate our mind, so that we'll have that Nigerian project that will actually give us the total freedom, which will make us mentally free from the bondage that we have been captured from. And then let's make the realness run. Let's have actual leaders who have empathy, who have passion, who have vision, and who are patriotic. Let's have a Nigeria of our dream, Nigeria that we will bequeath something worthy to our children and our grandchildren. So on behalf of myself, Abdullah Aliyu, and my brother in Lagos, Iboku Olua, so I say let's meet on Tuesday by 5 Nigerian time and 11 a.m. Central American, and let's do it again. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.